Alright guys, today I'm giving up the juice on some wintertime jerkbaits. So, as everyone knows, like with top waters and stuff, a great way to add a little bit of secondary action to your bait when it's just sitting there is to add a feathered treble hook. Now, the reason why you really can't do this too much with a traditional jerkbait is because those feathers, a traditional feather like you find on a topwater bait, actually floats. So it goes up and it just kind of sits there and undulates upwards. So with a jerkbait, that kind of messes with it because if anything, a lot of the time you're wanting it slowly to sink to suspend. So adding in a traditional trebled feather hook kind of makes it rise a little bit and kind of do some other weird stuff. And then you got to counterbalance it, and it's more of a hassle than what it's worth. But today I'm going to show you a tip on how to give your jerkbait secondary action when it's just sitting there by using feathers, but it's a different kind of feather. We're not going to use a traditional feather that you find with just standard topwater baits. We're going to be using ostrich feathers. Now, ostrich feathers are different because they're neutrally buoyant. They don't float, they don't sink, they just sit there and just expand and just sit there and just look all pretty like a dying bait fish in the water. So watch this tip. We're going to tie up an ostrich feather treble hook, and I'm going to show you how to put it on your jerkbait, or where I like to put it on my jerkbaits to give it a lot of secondary action that can really entice those finicky winter bass. Okay guys, I put on a white hoodie so you can see the hook better when it's in the vise, but basically we're going to make a feathered treble for this Mega Bass Vision 110. Basically the hooks that I got, I mean they're the Mega Bass ones, so they're exactly the same. What's off of it, it's a number 6, it's a size 6. So we're just going to throw it in the vise here. Make sure it's rotated right. Come on. Okay, so we got her in our vise there. We're going to take some black thread, just put some wraps around it just to kind of get it started. Just like you do with a normal fly, just down and back a couple times just to get it started. Okay. Okay, the two colors we're going to use today for this feathered treble are white and black, just to have some contrast there and just so it's not just one color sitting there just pulsing in the water. So we're going to start off with the black, take a couple out, and we're going to take 2 longer strands. We're just going to take our scissors, just kind of clip them off there. Oh, we got 3. But we're not going to have them be too long, so we're going to kind of match them up lengthwise. And we don't want them real long. We don't want them sticking way out there, but they're about an inch and a quarter long. So we're going to take it and lay it down flat on top of this hook. Just do a couple wraps, get them secure. If I can get them on there. Go. Just down and back a couple times. Actually, we're gonna do 2 more, just to get a little bit more definition on it. Just kind of making them the same size. Okay. Couple more wraps, just secure them down. Okay. Now keep in mind, I put them all 4 of these on the top side of the hook. And what we're going to do is when we start adding in the white, we're going to start building up both other sides of it and maybe a few more on top as well. So we're going to call that good with the black. It's a little longer than what we're probably going to do with the white, but we kind of started them towards the back, and we kind of want these to be the tail of our feather treble hook. So I'm going to bring the thread to the front. We'll sit there, grab some white, We're going to start with 2. Okay. And I'm going to put these on the side closest to me. We're going to kind of make these a lot smaller. Oh, we got 3 of them there. Get 2. Come on, line up. I'm just lining up the ends, just to kind of get roughly the same length on them. But we're going to do these about 3/4 of an inch long. Okay, I'm going to put these on the side closest to me. Ostrich feathers don't like to work with me. There we go. There's a couple on there now. Okay. Take 2 more. Put them on the other side. Got one already cut. On that side. As you can tell, it's really not filling out too much, and it really doesn't too much with these ostrich feathers, but it's, again, we're just kind of looking for something just to kind of sit there and flare and just add a little bit of secondary motion to the treble hook, just to give it a little something extra. We're going to put these down below. Scoot them back there. Don't want to do that. Go. Just gotta keep wrapping. And we're just gonna keep adding these until we kind of got the desired bulk that we're looking for. Again, it's not gonna look too bulky, and really we don't want them to be, otherwise it's gonna have a lot of water resistance on it. It'll affect the action a little bit, but yeah, just keep adding here and there until we kind of get it looking like what we want to. Kind of too fat of fingers. All right. We are going to add a few more feathers to this, just a couple. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, this is going to look a little bit different than any other treble or feathered treble hook you've seen. Just something a little bit different. But it's gonna just add the little bit of something we want on that jerkbait. All right, so that's about as bulky as I want it to be. So I'm just gonna finish just wrapping it quite a bit up at this head of the hook. I'm taking my fingers, cross it over, a couple twists in the old loop, go up over it, just down, cinch it. Twist your line over, twist it again. You can also use a whip finisher. I like this hand method better. Basically just tying a bunch of knots over and over again to make sure that the thread doesn't come undone. Should be good. Get her good and tight. Take the scissors, cut her off, and there she is. So we're looking like it. Like I said, it looks a little bit different than what a traditional feathered treble hook would look like. But when we put it in the water, you'll see that it just a lot of this stuff kind of compresses down, and it almost just looks like fins just kind of sitting there in the water. But okay, so now that we got that, we're going to put it on our treble hook here. And I'm actually going to put it on the front treble just to kind of add a little bit of something in here, give the fish something to target. So I'm take the split ring, my fingernail under there, if I can find out where it ends. Get it started. this one on there, get it started on there. Just rotate her around. There we go. So it looks a little goofy right now, but once you put it in the water, tag end's a little long. It looks a little poofy and a little goofy right now, but once you put it in the water, it's gonna kind of tighten up a little bit, and it's just gonna flare just right. We'll go to the sink and see if you guys can see that a little better. All right, I'm not real sure how well you guys are gonna be able to see this, but we're at my sink. Don't really have an underwater camera, but I'm gonna drop this jerkbait in the water. You can kind of see what happens with those feathers. They just kind of sprawl out a little bit, and it just looks like a little something. If you see, like, they're not floating, they're not sinking, they're just kind of suspending there. And it just gives those fish a little bit of something to look at. Again, I guess it's not really deep enough for it to suspend well. As you can see, as it kind of jerks along, it just adds a little bit of secondary movement to it that can help in certain times. I mean, it's not a for sure thing all the time, but it might be that little bit of something you need just to kind of get those wary fish to hit. All right, guys, that's my feathered treble hook for jerkbaits. That's kind of my little trick that I've been keeping under my hat for a while. We're going to try to go out on the water tomorrow and see if we can get some bites with it. But yeah, like, subscribe, and we'll be coming out with more of these kind of little tricks and tips and stuff like that in the future. I'm going to try to do some actual, like, top water treble hook videos of trying to match more bluegill profile baits and shad profile baits and really kind of fine tune the feathers from that aspect. I kind of like to try to match the hatch as much as possible, and I really believe that a feathered treble hook is something that can really make a difference, whether it be on top water or jerk baits. So come back for more. I'll be posting up more videos like that. Thanks, guys. See ya.